split here, they'll actually come back together at the same point there. So in the process, you have a region of low pressure on this side of the plane wing. And you also have more drag as well. So just a plane just flying along, there's going to be lift in that direction, or a force in that direction, due to a low pressure on this side plus more drag over the top. If you think about the drag, like you can have a car with a flat tyre and it's going to pull one way because there's more drag on that side. So just like you have more drag on this curved surface, it's going to want to pull that way, just like a car with a flat tyre or the low pressure. So what happens is now you've got two plane wings and they're side by side. If they're parallel, they're actually going to pull against each other at the same time as you're going straight. Okay? And so what happens is that's going to slow the board down. So it'll be like, by having a little bit of toe in, it's like a plane flying along with the wings slightly tilted down. There's just not as much lift there. And so there's not as much force pulling the fins apart. And it's not until you actually commit yourself to a turn one way or the other that the fin or the wing will actually pick up on the flow and pull it into a turn. So the toe in is there so that when you're heading straight down the line, it reduces the drag. And if you have fins that are parallel, it'll slow the board right down, as well as make it oversensitive or overreactive. So that's where, the toe in is related to foil.
So I've got a question concerning foil. So what about thicker fins? If you've made thicker fins?
Thicker fins have even more pull.
Yes.
Yeah, so there's more
toe in,
lift.
right? More toe in, right?
More toe in to make a thicker fin work. A little bit more toe in. Yeah. Or if you have the same amount of toe in, you just have to cope with a bit more sensitivity. Yeah. And basically with the other comment here, splay or cant or angle, you quite often hear the word splay or cant, and then Mark said, why don't we just use the word angle, because that's what it is. But in surfboard building terms, we quite often use the word splay or cant. That is this angle here. So we call this cant or splay, having the fin splayed out more or having more of an angle. That can have, it can be good and bad. So I personally like to have a little bit more angle on my fins. If you can imagine now, let's be a little bit more extreme. I've got maximum angle on my fins. So now what I've got two little plane wings, okay? So the board really wants to lift. So when you have more angle, as you get speed, the board feels like it wants to lift up out of the water, but it ends up that it lifts the nose and pulls the tail down. If you can imagine that plane wing, it wants to lift, but anything forward of that is lifting, anything behind it is getting pulled down. It's in combination with a flatter tail rocker, it creates an interesting effect, because you've got more angle on your fins, therefore the nose wants to lift, the tail wants to drop down. If you've got a flatter tail, it's pushing that flat and feels like it's squirting you forward. So it's an interesting combination that I personally like. Foil, we discussed that, and lift, area, right away, toe in, rake. Okay. This here is what you call the rake of the fin. Okay. So when a fin is tilted back more, it's got more rake.